Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy, 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down! Now, for those of y'all new to my page, in 1994, I was arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I end up serving 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories, and I'm going to share a story with y'all today. If you happen to like this, be sure to hit that video. Be sure to hit that like button. If you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Most importantly, hit the notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Now, actually, I had a good story planned for y'all today, but the guy who creates my thumbnails ran into a little problems, and so my thumbnail is not ready. So I'm gonna drop that story for you guys today. So, actually, then I came outside, was leaving the gym, and I got a dang flat tire, so I'm sitting here waiting for the triple A guy to come and stuff. So I'm gonna just give y'all something that had been on my mind for a while now. A lot of y'all might be thinking, well, damn, Chill, you don't know how to change no tire. Hell yeah, I know how to change the tire, but if I if I get out and change my tire, then what the hell would the AAA guy be doing? And what am I paying him for? So I'm gonna let him get his work in, let him get that good money, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I was thinking, y'all, for a long time, so I want to ask y'all, especially a lot of you guys who ain't never been to prison, because I realize, though, that even though a lot of people who watch my channel have never been to prison, they still like to hold the people who have been to prison to all the type of ethics and codes and conduct that we're supposed to stick to, joining these gangs and stuff like that. So I would like to ask y'all, at what age do you guys consider a person should stop gang banging, And I look at it like, you have different gangs, different organizations, different cliques who hold the members of their gangs to different type of standards, And I've always thought about, it's funny how many of us join gangs in the very early years of our teens, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I only remember running across one dude who was a cellie of mine when I was in the hole, who said he had joined the gang at about 23, 24. He had moved out from, I forget what state he had moved out from, and he moved in a neighborhood in LA and joined the gang when he was like 22, 23 years old. Prior to joining the gang, man, this dude had been all in the army and a whole bunch of stuff, So I told him, man, what the hell you joined a gang for in your 20s, man? You didn't went out backwards. By the time most average gang members, if they happen to make it to the age of 21, 22, they pretty much establish whatever reputation they're going to establish for themselves in the streets. You don't really start. I mean, some dudes go on doing what they've been doing, but at the age of 22, for most gangbangers, your identity in the streets is pretty much established and cemented in terms of whatever type of person you're going to be. And I like to tell y'all too, everybody that's part of a gang is not necessarily out there, doing the most, putting in all the work, doing it, doing a whole lot of shooting and riding for their hood, representing, You may have a gang, let's say, that's maybe 100 deep, and you may really only have maybe like 9 or 10 dudes that's really active, that's really out there, with the activities, that's shooting and keeping that reputation of that gang afloat. You have a lot of people from the gang some people just grew up with the neighborhood and they really affiliate with it because that's where they grew up from, but they're not necessarily out there, hanging in the hood, putting in work. Then you have some dudes that's hanging in the hood. They just out there hustling, selling dope. You may have some dudes that's out there fighting. Everybody in the gang is not quote unquote menace to societies in terms of, shooting and terrorizing the neighborhood and the enemies and so on and so forth, So for this individual, this dude who I'm talking about, to join the gang at the age of 22, and now he just came to me. He was from the state that Bone Thugs, Ohio. He was from Ohio, and so like I say, I was telling him, man, you went out backwards. And at this point in time that me and him are talking, I'm in the hole in corporate. I went to the hole for stabbing somebody, and he had 3 strikes, and this dude was miserable. Every morning about 6 o'clock, maybe a little earlier than then, he'd wake up, he'd be by the door, just breathing all hard and heavy. So after about the 3rd or 4th day, I told him, damn, man, what the hell's going on, man? I'm in here trying to sleep. Man, what you doing, Mike? I'm going to just call his first name, man. Mike, he said, oh, man, I'm miserable and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I understand all that, man, but I'm in here trying to sleep, So give me a little respect or whatever. But anyway, I see some of these other channels and stuff, and people that get out, and you have some dudes that's kind of like still pushing their gang and this and that, or you may have some people who get out and the members of their gang still expect a whole lot from them, in the later stages of their life, 30 years old, 40 years old. So I'm just wondering, for you guys that watch the page and stuff, what do you guys think? Because I look at it like this, where many of us, like I said earlier, we join the gangs when we are immature, we're young kids. And so it's almost ridiculous to expect a person to want to continue to be committed to something that he joined as a kid. And to me, it's ridiculous for many of us who get out and we still carry on these actions, and we still carry on and get caught up in activities in a club or organization or a gang that we joined when we was kids. To me, one of the more foolish things, it wasn't nothing quite as foolish when I was locked up as seeing a dude in his 50s, 60s still running around gangbanging, still wanting to cuz and blood and be that old. And for the most part, you know what I mean, and it's not always every single one of them, but for the most part, to me, it was a lot of dudes who really were never the top dogs in their hood, never had that reputation. So they couldn't wait to get of a certain age to be called Big Homie. But, Big Homie, in my opinion, Big Homie is a title that's earned. Some people want that title just by age. And, and there were some of those dudes who would go about, it seemed like they just couldn't wait to get of a certain age where, the youngsters would call him Big Homie and this and that, and they wanted to, try to lead and guide, but they really hadn't put in the work or, had that type of reputation where they had earned that type of title. Because like I said, for the most part, a lot of the dudes who I ran across whose reputations were extremely vicious, whether they was Bloods or Crips or wherever they was from, no longer went around cussing and blooding each other and stuff, just basically still trying to show other people that they were still a part of their neighborhood or their territory. Like I said, most dudes I ran across at that stage in their life, they was calm, they was comfortable with who they was and whatever. I never forget, man, it was a dude, and I'm gonna just say his name, they called him OG. OG, man, barely could walk. He'd be wobbling when he walked, had a gray beard. He'd still be running around cussing and cripping and all that old type of stuff. But everybody from his particular neighborhood pretty much said in terms of gang status, he was pretty much a nobody, And so I remember, man, he got into it one time. My cellie was a dude by the name of Kai. Kai was from Oakland. Kai probably was about, at that time, I would say about 34, 35, maybe about 5'10", maybe about 180, 185, 190. He played basketball, worked out, he had a nice little size on him. And for whatever reason, man, him and OG got into it, man. OG loved to run around talking about, I ain't turning down no fades. I ain't turning down no fades. But at this point, OG, you got to be every bit of 60, if not better. You know what I'm saying? You barely can walk. You're not in no position to fight. So OG and my cellie Kai, they go up in the cell. Kai put them hammers on him. Beep, boop, beep, pop, beep, boop, 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 pop. Kai bust him up in there, mix him up, because OG was just pressing the line. OG was like talking tough, and so dudes up in there, my cellie included, didn't have no mercy on the dude. I mean, if the dude wanted to be hard, if this is what you want, I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? And that didn't put the water on OG's fire, because he still was running around there like he was super tough and this and that. And so, well, not necessarily super tough, but that he was like he was an active gang member, you know, still talking that gang talk, cousin, and just doing his thing and all that old type of stuff. So like I said, you know, to me that was extremely foolish to see those dudes in prison who still just, you know, acting like they was part of that. You know what? And one thing I liked, man, when I first came to prison, I hated that everybody called me youngster because I looked extremely young. When I came to prison, I was 25, but I looked much younger than that. I probably looked like I was 19 and stuff. I was still young. And so I hated that. Then as time went on, time progressed, it got to the point where they started calling me OG. And I hated that. You know, I didn't want to seem like, because I was like, damn, you know, I remember I asked a dude one day, I said, man, why you call me OG? Do I look old or something? He said, no, man, it's just kind of the way you carry yourself. You know, I can tell that you're older or whatever. But I didn't like that, you know. But then later on, maybe a few years later or whatever, when stuff would get ready to happen, riots and fights, you know, the youngsters, they just assume that you're not fit to get involved. Oh, watch out, OG, we got something going on. You might not want to go outside, OG. And to keep it real with y'all, I like that because now, in a certain way, they was basically saying like, OG, if you don't get involved, don't even worry about it because we don't expect you to be involved. You know what I'm saying? And so they was giving you a pass basically just to get out the way that, you know, they just felt like, okay, this ain't your league or whatever. This is not your, you know, you're not involved in this old type of stuff. And so it got to a point where I lightweight like that, you know, because now they wasn't tripping on you. Like, I don't know if you guys is from, you know, I got a lot of viewers who are not from California, man. In California, when you a young person and you black, to keep it real, or possibly Hispanic, just being black or Hispanic is going to get you hit up. And when I say hit up, other dudes is like going to push up on you. That's in your age bracket or whatever. If you have a certain look, and sometimes you don't even have to have that certain look. You know, they going to ask you, hey, what's up, man? Where you from? You know, what's up? You know, that's basically like an invitation to some trouble if you happen to be from the same hood. And I can honestly say the whole time that I've been out, nobody has asked me where I'm from. You know, that was when I was young. You know, I would get that 3-4 times a week. You know, you in the wrong area, people want to know where you from. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that I guess I like about, not necessarily looking super young, you know, because it is definitely a cold situation, in my opinion, for me and many others, man, to spend her whole childhood in prison. I met a dude yesterday and I'm gonna interview him. I happened to be at a function or whatever for a memorial service, man. And so I happened to be talking to a dude, and just in the midst of conversation, we go to talking and find out this dude done 28 years. He was in jail from 16. He told me he went to jail when he was 16. So then I done the math later on. So he went in jail at 16 and got out at the age of 44. Can you just imagine that, man? Fathom that, throwing your whole youth away in prison. And to me, that's something that I kind of dislike, because like I say, I enjoy being young. I enjoy being able to just being young, and just to think that, you know, and I went to jail, you know, at the age of, I believe I got caught at the age of a couple of days before I turned 23. By the time I hit the pen, I was 25. And I noticed that when I was in prison, I had a little more experience than the average person my age, you know, because you have a lot of people who never leave their, you know, they never leave their respective neighborhood. You know, I was fortunate enough to go to Montana. Then I went to Denver, Oklahoma. I was in Portland. You know, I went down to North Carolina, and North Dakota, South Dakota and stuff. So I had seen and experienced a little bit, you know, but you had some dudes who like the dude I'm talking to, who I was talking to yesterday. He got locked up at the age of 16. So I'm just assuming he's never done much, you know. And so just to sit in prison for 28 years and throw your whole your 20s, your 30s, you know, half of your 40s away in prison is just a unfortunate thing for those of us who fell victim to this gang life. And so, like I said, the question that I started with at the beginning of this video is, what age should a person give the gang up, because you have some of these individuals who get out and, they're still gang banging, or you have some of them who, like I said, their homies still expect them to participate and give a certain amount of allegiance to their gang, even though probably the majority of them who spent a whole lot of time in prison. Let's not get it twisted. When we locked up, you may have a homie or two or three homies, unless you just one of them super loved and respected individuals from your hood. But if you not, and even if you are, sometimes, when you get locked up, your homies forget about you. People ain't sending you money. Nobody's looking out for you. Nobody's going past your mom's or your wife's house to help her cut the grass or go to the store, or it's just like, it's damn near you're forgotten about. What I've seen, people are more remembered by homies that they were locked up with. Homies who happen to get out, start doing well for themselves and stuff, and now they're able to send this person money. I see more people, in my experience, looked out like that, because the people who come out now, they know what it's like, so they're able to have more empathy for a person who's locked up. But your homeboys who you was running with out there, riding with and doing this and doing that with, more than likely they not just to forget about you. They're more than likely, they're not going to remember you, or sometimes they're not in a position to take care of you or help you out, or sometimes they end up getting locked up themselves, or some of them get killed, just to keep it real and stuff. And so, but it's crazy, but you may do all that time and then you get out, and the dudes who didn't help or had forgot all about you, now they expect you to come back and contribute in a negative way, to your neighborhood, to your gang or whatever, like I said. And it's just that, to me, it would seem like if your homeboys really cared about you or cared about us, they wouldn't want us to no longer be caught up in that type of lifestyle. So, they would take in consideration that, hey man, you just done 10 years and now now you 35 years old and you got bigger and better and more important things to do. But some of them don't. So that's what I was just wondering today, that, and at what age, man, should a person gang bang? And so stop gang banging. And it's a little hard to get away from that type of environment, that type of mind state when you're in prison. Because I remember I would have talks to dudes sometimes in prison, and I would say, hey man, when you gonna stop gang banging? And he would tell me, oh man, probably when I get about maybe 35 or something like that. I said, well, if you're going to stop at 35, don't it make sense you might as well stop now? If you know you're going to stop, and, and I was like primarily talking to people who was headed back to the streets. If you know you're going to stop at 35 and you only, let's say you 26 now or whatever, why put all that risk on you? Why take 9 more years of risk and to get caught up and come back to prison, or to potentially get killed? And like I said, but when you caught up around people that's still partaking in that activity them damn selves, it's harder to break away. It's harder to break away from. But like I said, I just trip on some of these more organized groups that it seemed like sometimes that they still expect, a grown man to behave and stay committed to something that he signed up for when he was a kid. So anyway, that was just something that was on my mind since I was unable to throw up the video that I had planned for you guys today. But I'll be getting to that tomorrow. More than likely, that video I'm gonna be talking about. And it was suggested to me by, and I don't know how to exactly pronounce your name, Shana or something like that. Excuse me, Chaana. But anyway, I'm gonna be talking about they had a warden who was a warden at a federal women's prison. His name was Ray Garcia, and he was convicted a couple of days ago, basically sexually assaulting, doing lewd activities with the women in his prison. So I'm gonna be addressing that tomorrow. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.